Hi, everybody. It's Chance. We're here at Studio 41, Episode 2, Coffee with a Cop. We have Officer O'Sullivan here with us today. So let's get right into it. Let's hit the hard questions first. How do you like your coffee?
I'm all about situational. It depends on where I'm going. I like it from black like today to all up to like all the sugar and stuff from Starbucks. So it depends on where I'm at. But for the most part, you can't go wrong with no cream, no sugar.
Okay, no cream, no sugar. That's pretty good. I had cream and sugar. I could have made you a delicious Starbucks latte.
Yeah.
That's not true. I suck at making lattes.
I'm still mastering the crafts of making coffee at home. I still buy it.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right. So, how long have you been a police officer?
I've been a police officer since 2015. My story's kind of weird. I started as an internship, believe it or not, with Claremont in college. Part of that, they offered me a part-time and then full-time job dispatching. And then in 2019 or 2015, I went down to Charlestown as a cop and then came back up here in 2019. So
2019.
Yeah.
Are you from Claremont?
I'm from Newport.
Newport.
Yeah.
So similar area.
Yeah.
Went to Newport High School.
Yep.
Tiger.
Yep.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
When did you graduate?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
And then you went to college or what?
Yeah, I went to NHTI. So believe it or not, I was actually all set to go to the forestry route and be like logging and work out in the woods. And then I got talked out of it, thank God, because there's no money in it. So last minute decision, I decided to not go to Paul Smith's College up in New York, and I just did criminal justice at NHTI.
Criminal justice at NHTI.
Yeah.
And so what was the program that you went through? It was through Claremont?
No, so NHTI was just obviously my associates. I got my associates through them. And then so what would be your senior year in college, so your second year at NHTI, you have to do some sort of internship.
Sure.
So I got connected with Claremont at the time. Captain Casey, I was working closely with him, doing like all the detective stuff, evidence stuff, all the FBI's stats and all that stuff. And then once that we were about halfway through my internship, there's an opening in dispatch, and they put me in there and was off and running since then.
Okay, so that was like the internship program that you were talking about. That's how you got hooked in. Okay, cool. Yeah. What interested you in becoming a police officer? What, like when you were in college, what was like, nah, not logging, let's do criminal justice?
So my dad was a cop. I grew up, he did a majority of his career in Newport PD and then went to the sheriff's office and then retired at the sheriff's office. So I grew up around it. He even told me not to do it, but I was stupid enough and went into it and never looked back since then.
Sure.
So
are you having a good time?
I am having a good time. He just doesn't like there's a lot of like, you're missing a lot of family functions, birthdays, holidays, getting called out and stuff like that. So he knew it was a rough life. We saw the glamorous side of it as a kid.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to put his kids through that of missing important functions.
Yeah.
But I'm having no issues with it so far.
Certainly. All right. Well, what do you do? Like, can you tell me a little bit about your role at Claremont?
So currently I'm assigned with the K9, one of hopefully two here shortly. And then we have Sully as our third for our comfort dog. But we're a patrol function. We're answering calls still in the city. When there's a dog call that pops up or someone needs a dog to do like a drug sweep of a car or anything, they'll call me. If I'm working, I'll go to it. If I'm at home, I'll come in and get called in for it.
Sure.
So if there's like Charlestown, any of our surrounding areas, if they need a dog, we're currently the only dog in Sullivan County.
Yeah.
So we would go over and assist them as well as needed.
So how long have you been doing the canine? Is that from the get-go or?
No, it took me a while to get into it. I was lucky in the aspect of, at the time, Sergeant Petrin had Maverick. That's all through a grant through the Stanton Foundation. Part of that grant is we're access to a second dog team. So at the time, Deputy Chief Grasso was the one who connected us with that. We got the second dog. I applied for it internally, got offered the position, and then went down to Boston for like 16 weeks for our patrol school. So to certify with him.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's something that you enjoy. That was like a step that you were like, this is awesome.
Ever since going into law enforcement, I knew that's what I wanted. Again, my dad had two dogs growing up for Newport. I only remember his second one, just of my age.
Sure.
But ever since seeing that, being around that, I knew as soon as I went into law enforcement, that was my ultimate goal, is to get a dog.
Nice.
So
yeah. So how do you feel like it benefits the community?
all sorts of different ways.
Sure.
It's a great PR tool. It just helps connect and build a bridge and a conversation with people out on the street and members of our community of, hey, we're people too. We have a dog. It's a great bond to at least start that conversation with people.
Yeah.
On that side. And then on the other side is, I mean, he's getting all sorts of dangerous drugs off the streets and preventing those fatal overdoses. I would say that one of our worst aspects of this job is to make those notifications to family members that their loved ones aren't coming home. Certainly. So if we can prevent those conversations and having those hard conversations with just interdicting those as they're either coming into the community or traveling around the community and get those, that might be, even if it's one bag of drugs, that might be one life that we're saving. So we're happy of getting one bag. We're happy of getting a kilo. It's all about saving the life. So he's very beneficial in that aspect. And then in the other aspect of like, if a criminal runs off and then is hiding in someone's backyard, we can go find them and prevent those burglaries. Or if someone just burglarized a house, took off, we can go find them and come back to the victim of that and go, hey, we have this person in custody because of the dog. Now we can start the judicial process with them. So it gives closure to victims of crimes as well. Sure. We're hopefully in the second process of getting a black lab for like a friendly find track and articles and drugs. So if kids or elderly people go missing, we can send out a lab and go track them as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah,
we won't have a aggressive dog bouncing around in the cruiser that everyone asks if they can pet him. They can't, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
But now with the lab coming on, if someone wants to pet the lab, they can pet the lab.
Yeah.
We're not concerned about that. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Did you have to learn German?
I did not. His commands are in German. Yeah. So I guess I would learn it. There's the sit command, the down command, the heel command. So having him come up onto my leg and just walk with me. And then the apprehension command, and then like the search command. So it's a
handful, like 5 or 6 little German commands. That's cool. That's cool.
It's pretty easy, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes a second nature to him. If you tell him lay down, he won't understand it. He's just like, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was very minimum commands. Believe it or not, he came from Billerica, Massachusetts, so he wasn't even imported. I think most of the dogs, I think, are 50-50. Some are coming and getting imported through like Poland, Germany, the Czech.
Yeah.
Our guy just came from Mass through the Boston program. We have, I think, 200-ish teams in that program and in that training group. So the master trainer through Boston is very well known across the country. Like I think LA was having issues with their dogs. They flew him out to LA to help fix their dogs. So very well known. So we're getting a lot of great training, but with so many dogs, he's getting a lot of the dogs from local vendors, which is nice. We haven't seen any issues since then. So
local guy then.
Yeah.
That's good. Love to see local guys. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. So what do you like doing in your personal life? Something that you enjoy?
Train dogs.
Training dogs? Oh, you do that?
Like, he comes home with me, lives with me, and he is constantly needing something to direct his attention to. If he doesn't have that, he's going to get aggressive and like start shredding stuff in his kennel and stuff like that. So we avoid that.
Sure.
So he constantly needs that like attention. So believe it or not, like off duty, where I have my girlfriend out setting tracks for me so he can just go work. I have a scent board in my garage where I can put like different odors in that, and he can just go work his nose and find that odor and get paid for it with a ball. So a lot of my time is spent with that dog.
Hanging out with the dog. Huh?
Yeah. If we're not hanging out with the dog and he's at home, I love snowmobiling, but currently that's not great around here.
Yeah, it's a little bit warm for that today.
And even in the past winters, that great. So, but yeah, in the winters, I'm a very winter-oriented guy, skiing, snowmobiling, hockey, that kind of stuff. Yeah. In the summer, I just hang out at home, typically.
Right. Do you play hockey?
Yeah.
Do you play? Is there a team? Do you guys do like a firefighter versus police team or something like that?
They do the Battle of the Badges down in Manchester, I think now. So a couple of our fire guys are on that team. The police side of it's pretty political to get on. I'm not a big politics guy, so I just leave that alone. I just do men's league up at KUA.
Where's that?
That's in Plainfield.
Okay, yeah. Somebody told me about that.
So I grew up playing organized hockey through high school, and that was our home rink, was KUA.
Yeah.
We'll go up to do some like men's league competition tournaments up in like Canada, the weekend hockey tournaments and stuff like that. So keeps us busy, keeps it fun.
What position do you play?
Left wing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is weird because I shoot left-handed, but everything else after that, I'm right-handed.
Really?
No idea.
Yeah. I know nothing about hockey. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know a little bit.
Many people do.
I started watching it a couple years back. I know a little bit. Not a lot.
I'm the same.
Nothing
like,
technical.
With like football, I'm just starting to learn football, but like all the different stuff, I don't know much about football. But hockey.
Well, don't watch football. Get into rugby.
Yeah. See, I don't even know anything about rugby. I know our high school team had a rugby team right when I was starting to graduate, so they're starting that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At Newport?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, rugby's cool. My brother's been playing men's league rugby over in Ludlow.
That's like intense though. Like that's like all bets are off. Like you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Well, the tackling form is much better. That's like the misconception from us coming from football, because in football you just go try to throw your body and crush people. In rugby, they actually tackle. You know, you got to form tackle and everything, because nobody wants to get hurt.
Yeah,
but they are gigantic.
Yeah,
they're all really buff.
I'm upset with that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you look fast, so they'd probably just throw you on the wing and you could just run. Yeah, so as soon as you get the ball, just run and don't get tackled. Yeah. That's the way to do it. So what are some things that you're excited about in the community around here?
I think the progression and all the new business is coming, honestly. I think Claremont has a lot of, like, unfortunately on Pleasant Street, vacant storefronts. Our crime rate's kind of up. And a lot of the community members, myself included, there's not much for people to do. So I think that all of this new business coming in is hopefully helpful to start getting other people from outside the community in and attract people to Claremont. I think I'm excited I think they're redoing the, I don't know what building it is.
The bounce house thing, right?
Yes, but all the apartments above that as well. So I think that finally we're getting housing in and starting like the Water Street project. I think the city's trying to sell the old state building on Water Street as well for more apartments. So getting people in the working class into Claremont and just drawing their attention through all those new businesses popping up. Hopefully that can start bringing a lot of income back into the city. So
yeah, I'm excited. Right across the street we're gonna get apartments. That's this building right here. And then down at the Bullpen we're getting like a coffee shop. A new card shop opened up, I saw, and then a couple of tattoo shops.
Yes, I saw it.
The one on the corner here, and there's one
across the street.
Next to it.
Yeah. So I love that. I love seeing all these different businesses coming in. So as long as they can stay, and hopefully we can make that happen, it's more money into the community and more people coming in for us. So
yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good to have kind of businesses to attract people, you know, and we try to do the things with Pleasant Street. We have the benches out and everything, and it's great because we do want people to come in. Block parties, we just had one this weekend. So it is good. I do like what's the direction that we're moving in.
Yeah. And I think for a while we were kind of stagnant, but now with the new council members on there and kind of like that fresh thinking, like we have like the Chipotle, Wendy's, so the bigger box stores, and we have, I think, Planet Fitness coming. So like all of that's going to help bring people in, at least if they're just passing through to get lunch, whatever.
Sure.
Typically people coming, just passing through, they have to stop and get gas. They're going to at least see what Claremont has to offer, and then hopefully come back. They're not staying and stopping on the way.
It's a big attraction. You come in here for one thing, and then you catch your eye. You're like, oh man, that's cool. I gotta go check that out. So that's always a good. It's always a good thing. Yeah, definitely. So what kind of things interest you? I know last time we talked with Brent, he's a big history guy. You read.
I try to read. I don't have the attention span to read. I think I've read 2 or 3 books like fully. Typically I'll start and get a couple of chapters in, and then life gets in the way. I don't know. Like honestly, it sounds cliche, but dog stuff. I'm really diving deep into the dog stuff.
Yeah.
I am investing myself into that dog to learn everything I can and try to get every training opportunity to get in there. I find it so fascinating that of what they can do, and the kind of the sciences behind dogs,
Sure.
and their genetics and like just how their noses are working, those changes of behaviors that he's showing. So it's fascinating to watch, especially with him to watch. I mean, I got him probably he was a year and a half old. He's like 3.5, maybe 4. Um, so watching him from puppy stages and having that kind of hands-on training with him and watching him grow up, it's been super impressive, and it's cool to have a hand in the training and to see where we're at now. And then the more training and the more time I put into him, the more beneficial he's going to be to the community.
Yeah.
So I find it super fascinating, and I love like listening to all sorts of different working dog podcasts. I haven't read any books yet on it. Don't tell the truth. The truth might judge me. But just watching and even going to training, for me personally, I learn more about dogs by watching the other teams work instead of myself, because when I'm running my guy, like I'm focused on him,
Right.
so I'm kind of missing, and I sometimes will get stuck in like a repetitive pattern while I have him out. So watching the other teams and seeing the similar like problems the other teams are having, I can go, that's what the trainer was telling me when I was actually trying to like do that task.
Yeah.
So for me, I even if I'm not working my dog or if I'm on my days off, I'll on my own time, I'll go down to the trainings. Whether so, we have 2 different training groups. We have Boston, and then we have one through Hillsborough, New Hampshire. So typically on my days off, I'll go to the Hillsborough, New Hampshire, just because it's closer, and I'll just watch dogs and I'll hang out and I'll run my guy on occasion. But I just like watching them to learn more of how I can help my guy succeed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really interesting the way that we share information. Like that is one of the best ways to learn information is talking to other people.
Exactly.
And even reading, like you can get good information from books, but one of the best ways to apply that information is to go out and see other people that are doing it. So that is really interesting, and that is cool that you dive into it, and you're always at those different trainings. That's really beneficial. Is that something that you want to like get into? Are you trying to go maybe end up becoming an instructor one day?
All of the secrets are all of the
secret.
There's
you don't gotta say it. You don't want to.
The secrets in dogs on the working side of it from law enforcement side is to move into the board and train pet side of dogs. So a lot of your older trainers, and this is across the country, are retiring from law enforcement, going into board and train just because there's so much money right now in it.
Sure.
And you're still working dogs here. And I think it challenges you as a trainer and as a dog handler to work all sorts of different types of dogs, right? Like a Malinois is going to be completely different than a golden retriever. So you have so many other pet dogs coming in that's a lot more challenges. So a lot of the like master trainers throughout the country are going to branch off into like board and train just because they're working so many different types of dogs and different problems. And there's all sorts of money into it. So as time goes on and when I'm starting to retire, that might be a side avenue that I might look into.
Yeah, probably interesting working with younger dogs too. Like you're probably working with younger dogs at some point, and then people are dropping their dogs off for shorter stints of training, but probably a interesting bulk of that training would happen.
And I think a lot of the other secret is, or problem, is I think majority of your pet dog owners, they will go bring their dog to that training. The dog looks good, and then they stop that training, and then they go home, and they're not keeping up on that like in-service training, and then the dog resorts back to what it was doing when it was a puppy.
Yeah,
and becoming misbehaved. So the key to success with dogs is you got to keep training, and you got to keep them going, and you got to keep them task orientated. So that's it goes back to like my dog is that's why like on my days off I have to keep tracking. I have to keep him doing my training tracks, getting him on odors, doing our article searches, obedience.
Right.
I'm typically doing like different obedience tasks with him just every day, a couple times a day, whether we're just walking to the cruiser and I'll put him in a heel just so he's still in that, like, okay, I need to listen.
Right.
So
obedience. Are you paying attention?
Yeah, you know? Exactly. And obedience for us is key out on the street.
Right.
So
yeah.
Have
to be. You're working with people all day long. So gotta be listening. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true. What's your favorite part about working in Claremont?
I think the variety of calls. Coming from Charlestown, and I was just telling this to the Charlestown chief, is Charlestown's a small community, but it is what you make of it, right? Like if you want to be super proactive in Charlestown, you can be. If you're like, today's just not my day, I'm gonna kind of hang low, you can do that as well. There's, believe it or not, a lot of the drugs are coming up Route 12. They'll either come off of the 91 corridor and come up 12, or come straight up into Ascutney and come over that way. Yep. So when I was in Charlestown, I was interdicting a decent amount of drugs, but they also have their small town problems as well. And the part where you can really grow as an officer down there is you're typically by yourself. Yeah. You're covering a town, I think, of 4,000 to 6,000 by yourself. So if you're, and they have some pretty gruesome calls down there as well that you have to handle it by yourself until backup's coming. Backup might be from Claremont, from state police, wherever the closest trooper is. So you have to use your words down there a lot to talk your way into compliance, which made me grow as a person and as an officer and mature very quickly. Because when I first got into law enforcement, I was pretty immature still. Yeah. But down there, you're kind of thrown into that fire and you have to come out. So that was a really good part coming up to Claremont. It's the variety of calls. We can go from anything from super severe to going to stop cars and just being out in the community and talking to people, whether, unfortunately, like on a car stop, right? A lot of people are like, oh crap, I just got stopped by the cops. Yeah. But it's a good way as well as to change the driving behaviors, but at least just talk to the members of the community and go, hey, what are you seeing in your neighborhoods that are a problem? You know, so most people might not call us for small stuff, but that on car stops, that gives us that opportunity to talk to members of the community, see what are they seeing, what are their problems, where can we help them in that aspect. So for us, I think for the community, car stops are pretty negative when you're on the opposite side of it. Yeah. For us, we kind of look as a positive as well, of one, we're changing the behaviors, but it gives us an opportunity to talk to someone that they might not necessarily come talk to us. Right. So gives us that good aspect. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the community policing? Like, is that something that you enjoy? Because I guess Claremont being larger than Charlestown, like you were saying, Charlestown, you're alone. Mm-hmm. You have more opportunity to do community policing in Claremont this way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're sitting at what, 14,000, I think, in Claremont, or 12 to 14,000. In reality, we're still a very small community. You know, we're big for Sullivan County, but I mean, I was just out in New York this past week training in Monroe County and just seeing their size of like Rochester, New York. Yeah. That humbles us of like listening to those guys. They have 25 dogs on the agency or something crazy like that just for their agency. Right. And then we're like, oh yeah, we just have one dog, you know?
One, hopefully too soon.
So it puts that in perspective. So Claremont's so small, but we still can be out in the community policing and just being a friendly face. Case in point with me, the dogs. We're always doing public demos. I just did 2 different public demos for the high school. I have one actually for the church across the street here coming up in some point this summer. We're trying to schedule one. So that's my way of getting connected with the community. And like I said earlier, it bridges that gap between law enforcement to the community. Right. It's showing people that we're people too. We put our pants on the same way they do. Yep. And it just gives that conversation build. And it shows also the taxpayers where their money's going into this program. For the most part, we're all grant funded. But there's still some money that has to be invested into the program and into the gear and stuff like that. So it shows people where their money's going and the capabilities of the dog teams. So
yeah, well, even being a smaller community with 12 to 14,000, it almost makes it more intimate that way, right? Yeah, like there's less detachment. So in a town like Rochester, city like Rochester, it's very easy to get detached and not be able to see and talk to the community as an officer. Whereas here, like, we know people.
Exactly. I'm sure they have it in your bigger communities and your bigger like agencies, but like case in point, like we still can have a life lasting impact on people. I mean, there's certain people that will go arrest, and during that arrest process, we'll just have that conversation with them and we'll get them those resources and they succeed. And then years down the road, and she just came up to me at Cumberland Farms the other day and she's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I'm like, "Sorry, I don't." Because she looked completely different. She's clean. She has a job. She's getting her kids back in her life. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm so-and-so." I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't even recognize you. I'm so sorry." But having that connection, she's like, "I want to thank you for getting me back on track, getting my life back together, getting clean, and starting to get my kids back in my life." For us, that's tremendous. Like that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So, and again, she's out in the community, but we help her in that project or in that like time frame of during the arrest. We give her the resource, and then necessarily we won't see them again. So having her come up and be like, "You changed my life for the better." That's all we want. That's our ultimate goal.
That's incredible.
That makes our hard days in law enforcement worth it. It really does. It really does.
Oh yeah, that can keep you motivated for a while. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely seen those direct changes in people's lives.
And same with the kids. We were doing the middle school graduation, and one of the kids came up to me. Same thing. He's like, "Hey, I'm so and so," and I'm like, "Sorry, buddy, I got nothing. I'm horrible with names here. I'm horrible with faces." And he's like, "Oh, you came into school when I was like misbehaving and you just talked to me. And now like I haven't been in trouble in school since then and all this stuff." I'm like, "Awesome, man." So I probably dealt with him probably at Disney Bluff or Maple. And then by the time he got to middle school, he was ready to go. And that's when I saw him last. So it was cool.
Put a little bit of investment in it and turned it right around.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. And especially, he's going through our school system. He might stay. He might be a lifer in Claremont. And we change that behavior through while he was young to hopefully as an adult, he now knows, hey, there's consequences to my actions. And I also know how to like behave myself and be a productive member of the community. So that's all we need.
Yeah. And he had a positive interaction with the police. So he's probably going to stay here.
Come to us.
You know what I mean? And be able to invest in the community again.
Yeah. And I think that's part of our problem is sometimes, they're afraid to come talk to us for whatever reason, whether it's a poor experience in the past with law enforcement, whether it's a preconceived notion that like we're bad people, we're just going to throw you in jail. So for him to kind of come back up to us and just be able to freely approach us, another great benefit. So if he needs help later, he knows he can come to us and get that help.
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. That is community policing at its finest. So that's awesome to hear.
Yep.
Great. Well, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you guys having us in.
Yeah, definitely. I love doing this. So
it's fun.
I want to do it more. But you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Everybody, have a good one.
Thanks.